Now, I'll try to tell you as I remember it. One evening when we had just got through slaughtering, I was up in the change room changing my clothes. The other boys, which was a man by the name of Del Lovelet, another one by the name of Diamond Dick, and another one by the name of F.W. Kroger. While we were there was a boy about 8 or 9 years old, and the boy would get lonesome, and he'd come down to the slaughterhouse to watch us kill, and just as company. In the evening, when things were over, he would go up in the big corral. He started up there, and he put his hand on one fence that he climbed over to get there. Well, this time, as he put his hand up on that fence, between the cracks of the boards, he seen a man, or presumably a man, sitting with his back against the wall of that barn. And he yelled to me. He says, "There's a man here." Well, I knew there shouldn't be a man there, because this was around about 7:30 in the evening, and we were getting ready to get out of there, and it should not be any strangers. I was pretty near dressed. I had on a pair of riding boots and some long johns. So I went over the corral, and as I went through one little corral, I picked up what is known as a hog gamble. They put that through the hog's hind legs when you raise them up. I picked that up as a weapon, and I come over to where the boy was. I asked him, I said, "Where is this man?" He says, "Right in there." I looked in and I seen what I thought was a Mexican. He muttered something like "Chico, Chico." So I see he was an old man. I see he wasn't properly clothed. So I reached down, I got him, and I pulled him back up in a sitting position. And I talked to him. I got no answer. At that time I could talk pretty good Spanish, and I talked to him in Spanish, but there's no response. Just no response. I used a little profanity. He didn't understand that either. So the other boys down on the floor, killing floor, they hollered up, "What do you got?" I said, "I don't know. I'm going to call the sheriff and have him come out and get him." I says, "He's starving. He don't look as though he's had a meal in months." So after about half, 3/4 of an hour, John Weber, the sheriff, and a constable by the name of John Tolan, they showed up. When Sheriff Weber looked at this man, he says, "That's an Indian." I says, "Well, if it's an Indian, he ought to be able to talk, hadn't he?" He says, "Well, maybe." So John could talk good Spanish. He talked to him. "No," he says, "nothing to it." I says, "I gave him a smoke," and he put that cigarette in his hand some way. The fire was in the palm of his hand. It was shielded, and he'd smoke, and he was happy. He'd get a big smoke out of that. Now, the reason he put that cigarette, the fire in the palm of his hand, can be of two reasons that I think. It could be one, if he was in the woods, he'd be shielding himself from an enemy or from the wind to blow his fire out. But he smoked that cigarette until there was just a very fraction left. He dropped it in front of him. And when he looked down at that little piece of cigarette butt, I noticed the lobe of each ear had been pierced, and a piece of buckskin about 2 inches long had been inserted in there. There was a knot in front and a knot behind to keep it from falling out. That was in each ear. Through his nostril, he also had a pierce. There was a piece of wood in there about the thickness of maybe a diamond match. But it was very prominent. You could see it. And I looked. I pointed at just like this. He just smiled. He wouldn't say anything.
What in the Sam hell do you got there?
It's an Indian, Pete. Just an Indian.
Can't you talk?
All right, everybody out. Leave that man alone. Come on, move him out. This ain't no damn circus. You put him on, all right? Keep you warm. Now, just leave him here for you. You understand?
Orville, coming into Orville.
Acho Maui? Upatisu? Hupa. Hupa? Tolowa?